Welcome back. Student Village has released its student spend report. It reveals where students are getting their money from and what they're spending it on. Of course, brands are vying for the student rand. So how can they attract young, ambitious students? Well, to discuss, we're joined by the CEO of Student Village, Ronan Ayres. Great to have you with us, Ronan. So 32 billion, a lot of money. Individually, 2,702 rand per month. So is that for everything, or is that what they can spend on themselves, or is that fees, everything?
Well, this is discretionary spend.
So purely on what they can buy, brands that they love.
Yes, and what we're seeing is it hasn't moved too much over the last 2 years, and as the economy is experiencing a tough time, we've seen almost like negative growth. And what we're seeing is a difference in behavior of students. So 85% of their money is coming from their parents and their lenders of last resort, which would be siblings, aunties, uncles, grandparents. And what we're seeing after that is that if they get short in the month, they're phoning them for money, but everything that they receive, they generally spend.
All right, so let's start with that. We've actually got some of the graphs that you have, money sources. So like you say, parents, 85% of the money comes from parents or family, but they are doing a bit of work at least. And just explain to me, this is used more and more, the gig economy and hashtag whatever it takes. So that's where the money is coming from.
Absolutely. As things get tougher, mommy and daddy might say, listen, this is how much I can afford this month, or this is how much I can afford. But they have their own desires. Remember, when you're a student, you're forming your own opinions, looking at what brands mean something to me. And I think that's the big thing that came out of the study this year compared to the previous years, is that it's all about me. It's which brands deserve me, as opposed to which do I aspire to. So it's quite in essence, quite a narcissistic view in terms of brands.
That's fascinating, and I've heard the same thing. Even De Beers looking at diamonds, and everyone used to want the big solitaire. Now they want something that reflects them, so it's got to be different. What does that mean for brands, and are they responding?
So brands have to be relevant to students. Brands have to engage. They have to be authentic. They have to really be in there for the long haul. They're not into, while students aren't offering commitment, we have seen over time that if brands get it right, they stick with them for the long term. But that's not up for the take. What's up now is that if you're relevant to me, and if it suits brand me, I'm going to buy.
All right, let's bring up potential market share. So this is important for branders to know, because it's basically where the money is going. So clothes, right up there. Is that how you express your individuality?
Absolutely, and what it seems more important now than ever before is it's a bottom-up approach. Is my sneakers and my shoes dictate who I am. That's a big deal. And what we're seeing across gender, across race groups, is that clothing every month is a huge concern. So they'll forego meals, at times rent, at times all sorts of things, just to make sure for shoes that they look good. So while they might say they spend 600 rand a month on clothes and shoes, what they're not telling you is when they get that SMS, when Peter sends the money to his daughter at month end, she's already lined up a 2,500 rand pair of shoes that she might need for this event she's going to.
This is incredible. Then computer equipment technology, that makes sense. Personal care, airtime and data. I was looking at the actual phone brands that you are looking at, and Samsung seems to be on top and not Apple. So is that a change, or has that been a long-term trend?
Yeah, I think Apple's always a desired brand, but it's always been in South Africa. It's never been between. It's never been more than 15% of the student market share. However, what we're seeing is Samsung has still got 1 in 2 phones would be Samsung. Huawei has come out of the blue, and they're screaming ahead at 15%. And what we're seeing is that every 2 years, you just have totally different players in the market.
So Huawei, how are they getting this student rand? Is it cost, or are they doing something right branding-wise?
So they've got really good product. I think they're also cashing in on Samsung's demise last year with the Galaxy. There was reputational damage, and what they're doing right though is that it seems like there's a lot more value there, and it's a great handset, great value, and they're really sexy.
All right, let's look at guys versus girls spending, something else that we've picked up from your report. So similar monthly spend, women spend more on toiletries, cosmetics and hair. I'm not surprised. Clothing and footwear, that's what you were talking about. Alcohol, contraception, women more than men. Any changing trends here, anything noticeable?
So what we're seeing is the female students are a lot more conservative in their spend and how they approach spend than guys. Guys are heavy in terms of clothes, shoes, and going out.
And this is why women should rule the world.
Well, no comment.
You said that they're taking on a lot of debt, and what was interesting to me was a comment that they're using that debt to get a credit rating, a credit history. So does that mean young people are being responsible with debt, which is good news?
You know, 2 years ago when we did the study, over 60% of students wanted to know how to budget and learn more about knowing how to control their finances. This year it dramatically dropped, and they actually want to find out more about investing. What we're seeing is a huge rise in terms of retail cards. Almost 60% of students have retail shopping cards, and only 29% have credit cards. So I think they're understanding credit, and what they're doing, and what we touched on earlier, was they're really hustling their way to make to get what they want, and that's in terms of part-time jobs, which is up, entrepreneurship, which is up, and just making a plan.
Which bodes well for financial literacy. What you're saying is there's a greater understanding of the implications. Let's end off. I mean, these are the people that point to the future, and brands need to listen. Are there any new trends? Are they online? Are they looking for innovation in any way?
So what I tell most brands is you're just part of their feed. That's the best you can be right now. So you're a fraction of their mind, and you've got to be relevant. You shouldn't try too hard, and you've got to understand that they're skeptical. They treat you as fake news until they accept you.
All right, thank you so much. Ronan Ayres from Student Village, and that's where we have to leave it. We've run out of time. That was Biz Prime.